Hello everyone, it's Carol here at Aakash Journals, and I thought I would take you along with me when I make some little inclusions for my latest set of journals. And if you've watched my channel previously, you'll know I like including these little embellishments in my journals, and all they are little journaling spots which open out like that and you can write inside, and I just decorate the front. This one has got a magnet so that when it sits on the page you could lift it off to write in it, but it also helps to keep this front cover closed because there's another magnet in there. And this one I've made out of, if I just flip these papers over, the bottom section of these blank vintage receipts that I have. And the reason that I've used that paper is because it is absolutely lovely. Now I actually have used a whole one of these in each of my little journals, but I've got plenty of these, so I'm going to use this bottom section and make some more of these, but with a slight twist. That's one that I've made using the bottom half of this vintage receipt. This is another one that I've made without the lace embellishment, and I made this one just from a book page, or part of a book page, as you can see there. And inside I've just added a couple pieces of coffee or tea stained paper, and that is potentially my journaling spot, so that one closes up like that. This one I used a napkin and did a bit of decoupage on the front, and then just a bit of layering just to add some more interest. And then inside I used the carbon paper from these vintage receipts and just lined the book page with that so that the inside could be a journaling spot. So as I say, I'm going to be making one of these, but with a slight twist when I come to add it to my journal. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go through this pile of vintage receipts that I've got here, and I'm just going to take away this strip down the side there. So those are my receipts with the edge taken off, and it's left me with a perforated edge there, which I don't actually want, so I will be trimming that off in a second. But to create these little journaling spots, you need a perfect square. Now this is a 5-inch square, or 13 centimeters, I believe 5 inches is. Yes, 13 centimeters. So a 5-inch square or 13 centimeters. Now the easy way to create a square, which you probably all know, but in case you don't, is to take one corner, bend it up along the opposite edge, create a point down at the bottom here, and do a fold across the diagonal here, and then cut down this edge here, and that will give you, this lower portion will be a perfect square. But I need to trim this down a bit more because I know this piece of paper is wider than 5 inches or 13 centimeters. Here we go. So this is my 5-inch square, and as you can see, if I bring in the top part of the vintage receipt, this is the torn edge or the perforated edge down the side there, and I've just trimmed it off so that I can get a piece here that is 13 centimeters or 5 inches square. So I'm going to do that with all of my pieces. To create the folds, all you do is you make a diagonal fold. So take one opposite corner and fold it over to the other. So this edge must all meet and that edge must meet. Now if you've cut a perfect square, they will meet, but if not, if you're slightly out for some reason, then just level up any overhang you've got on either side there. Okay, so open out your piece of paper again and do the same but on the opposite side. So take it corner to corner and fold. I'm just going to bring in my bone folder. And again, if you've got any overhang, then trim it off. Open your piece of paper out, and this time you're just folding it in half. So again, match up your corners and make your crease. And I think mine might have just moved there. Yes, it did. So make sure it doesn't move if you can. I didn't apply enough pressure. And make your crease, folding your piece of paper in half. open it out again and fold it in half the other way. Again, make that crease. So when you open your piece of paper out, it should look like that. So you've got 2 diagonal folds and 2 half folds. I've got one in there, you probably can't see it, can you? There you go, you should be able to see it. Now, quite easily, this will all fold up like that, but we don't want it to fold like that. What we want it to do is fold with these diagonal corners coming in. Now, what I tend to do is just take one of the diagonal fold and just fold it so that you have a mounting fold. When you put it down, if you grab that corner and the opposite corner and bring them down to this corner like this, I'm just going to put my finger on that so that you can see what it looks like. So I've just brought those 2 opposite corners down, and that's what it looks like all the way around. Still leaving my finger on that bottom corner, I'm just going to push this flap down to meet my finger at that corner, and then I'm just going to reinforce the fold so that the whole thing folds in the direction that I want it to go. And that's what it looks like if I open it up like that. And now all you need to do, find a lovely image or something to go on the front to decorate it. And if you are going to put a magnet, then you put it underneath the image that you've got on the front there. So I'm now going to do the rest of my invoices here, and I'm going to find some nice little images to go on the front, perhaps some lace, and start decorating them. These topper pieces are all finished now. I've stitched all the way around, and any little extra bits like a name or something like that I've layered up and glued down, and as you can see I've left a few loose ends. So these are ready to be attached to the little journaling spot, just with a dab of glue. But I did say that I was planning to change these up very, very slightly from this basic design. So I'm just going to move this to one side. You'll see all of these when they're done at the end. I'll post some photographs so that you can have a closer look. So I'm just going to move these all off to one side. This is the prototype, if you will, and if you remember, I showed that I had put a magnet on the back so that you've got a nice closure. Now I want to do that with these, so the other piece of magnet needs to be hidden under the topper piece, so it needs to be hidden under this piece before it's attached there. So I'll show how I do that in a moment. But in terms of changing these up slightly, let me show you. Nothing spectacular. I have made some of these little origami letters, and all they are self-locking letters. So if you open it all up, all it is a rectangular piece of paper. Now you can make these any size that you want, so long as your piece of paper is rectangular. And I'll quickly show you the folds so you can see how easy it is. Get your rectangular piece of paper and just fold it in half so that you've got a center crease. Open it out again. There's my center fold down there. Take your top left-hand corner and fold it down to the bottom of that center fold, and take your bottom right hand corner and take it up to this point up here so that it's like that. Now what I would suggest is that you leave it in this orientation, because it actually makes it a little bit easier to follow the folds until you're used to doing this. And once you've done one or maybe two, you'll rattle these off in no time. Okay, so this join here is where our center fold is. Take your top right hand corner and fold it down. And now what you want to do is take that corner again, fold it back up like that. Okay, so I'm quickly going to do that again. So this is our bottom right hand corner, fold it up to the top of the crease line, take this point, fold it down, create a crease, then take the bottom bit again, and fold it back up like that. Okay, and you're going to do exactly the same on this side. So take this point here and fold it up to here like that. Create a crease down the bottom here, then take that point and fold it back down to the bottom again so that it looks like that. And if I just let those two pieces come up, perhaps you can see that's what it's going to look like. Okay, so I'm just going to fold it back down again. Now this next fold is slightly different. So take your top right hand point, and what you're going to do is you are going to fold it from that point over this side so that this edge here, just on this flap, this edge here lies parallel with this fold that you've got there. Okay, so it's lying flat with that one. So take it over and just line it up, and you will get this little bit of a tail here going over onto this side. Okay, so I'm just going to open that out, and I'm going to do it with this side as well. So you're taking this edge here and you're going to line it up with this edge here like that. And again, you're going to get this little tiny tail piece coming over the other side. And when you've folded them both, it will look like that. So if I just hold it like that, maybe if I lift my fingers up, so you'll get that. Now, the joy of these is that all you do is you are tucking it inside that bit. Okay, so just take your point and tuck it in that piece like that. And the same with this point here, you're tucking it underneath this point here. So I'm just going to turn it slightly so you can see. I find it's better if you just lift it up and angle it slightly without being too rough. And as you can see, I'm just tucking it underneath. Okay, like that. And then when you push them down, if you've burnished your creases well, it will sit like that. Now I'm just going to carefully open that out so that you can see where those points are coming from. So really, really simple. And I'm going to include one of these under each one of these that I've made. Now you'll be able to see why I want the magnet particularly this time round. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these that I've made, and I'm just going to put it inside that square there. Now these are slightly larger than that square because I wanted them to be. I want a little bit of a layered look. And what I'm going to do is I am going to put some glue on the back portion here. I'm going to pop that in there like that. And then when these are folded up, these journaling spots that I've just created, when these are folded up, I will get a slightly layered look. And because I've got the magnet there and under this portion here, these journaling spots will stay closed. Now they will ordinarily stay closed like these. These haven't got magnets on them, as I showed you earlier on. But because I'm putting these pieces inside, then you've got an extra layer there, so the magnet will help these sit nicely. So the look that I want to get is when I open them up, I will get my first journaling spot there, and then I've got another journaling spot here like that. And the whole purpose of that is so that it's almost like a little secret journaling spot, if you will, tucked away inside. My next task is to start placing my magnets, and on this one, as you can see, I've used a tiny little magnet. Now the ones I'm using for these will be a lot bigger, and the reason for that is not the strength of the magnets, it's just that as you can see, I've got plenty of them, and I want to use them up. So I'm going to be using these, and these are probably about 3, maybe 2 or 3, probably about 3 mm in diameter and 1 mm thick. I'm going to take this one to show you how I position my magnet. So I've got one of the little journaling spots and I'm going to pop it inside. I'm just going to put a dab of glue in this bottom right hand segment, like that. I'm going to take my journaling spot, just going to pop it in there, and I'm just going to quickly check that I have it where I need it to be. That's not quite straight, so just giving it a little push over. I'm closing this up, and as you can see, I've got a little bit of a border down 2 sides. I'm quite happy with that. That's where I want it to go. So I'm just going to flip it over, make sure that it's well stuck down with the aid of my bone folder. So there we go. And it's going to open like that. So this is my topper, and I want this to sit like that. I'm just going to get a piece of double-sided tape because I find these magnets sit better if I use double-sided tape. Grab one of my magnets, position it in the center of my double-sided tape, like that. Take my topper, and in this bottom right-hand corner, I'm just going to position the magnet where I want it to go. So I'm not going right into the corner, I'm going a couple of millimeters up from the bottom, like that. I'm going to put some glue on the back here, but I'm going to take away the backing off the double-sided tape. And the glue I'm using is art glitter glue, and I'm making sure that I don't put any glue anywhere near the magnet. And now I'm going to position it on top of the journaling spot where I want it to go, but I know that that double-sided tape will grab really quickly and not give me any wriggle room, so I'm going to position it using the glue first of all and try and keep well away from that double-sided tape for now. So I'm just going to open the journaling spot up, just make sure that everything is nicely glued down, and again quickly just go over it with my bone folder. That's my top portion in place. To get the magnet positioned on the back, that is really super easy. Just flip it over, grab a magnet and drop it onto your piece, and it will automatically go the right way up and sit nicely whilst you grab some more double-sided tape and position it over the top. So there we go, and if I hold that down, my magnet's in place, and that will close down quite nicely and be held where I want it to go. And I'm going to move on and do the next one. Okay, I will see you at the end, and I will show you some photos as promised of all of these when they're done. These little double journaling inclusions are now finished, or perhaps I should say finished as far as I want to go with them, because I've not quite decided how I want to use them. You could just put them into a pocket or a side tuck as they are, but if you've used the magnets as a closure, you're going to want to hide that bit on the back, so you could always put another image on the back or a partial image on the back to hide that, and then just tuck it into your side tuck or pocket. As always with these sort of things, you could glue the whole thing down onto your page and have it as it is, or you could just glue it on 3 sides and leave one side open, and then you could use the inclusion itself as another little pocket or a side tuck. Or another option, and I think I'm probably going to go this way with mine, I think I'm going to put another magnet onto my page so that these can sit on my page. If I bring something in, these can sit on my page like that and then be lifted off, and it will be the magnet on the actual page itself that holds my inclusion in place. So I think I'm going down that route. I'm not certain at the moment, but that is a possibility. Another option with these is that before you open out this second journaling spot, you could use the folds as a tuck spot in itself. So you could have a side tuck there like that, or you could have a bottom tuck there like that, or you could have one of each, whatever you decide to do. And I will be doing that with mine. You could also stamp over all these folds here in the center so that your eye doesn't immediately see that it is an origami fold that will open up to a journaling spot. Or you could have an image that you glue to, say, the bottom here, and then open this all out so that these folds are hidden. So there's lots of options that you can do with this little inclusion. So I'll leave you some photographs at the end so you can have a closer look at how I've decorated these. Just very, very simple decoration with a bit of stitching and a bit of lace, but that's all I wanted to do for now on these. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you like seeing the slight variation that I've done on these from the previous video that I've done on these journaling spots, and I hope you'll join me for the next video. So until then, everybody, take care. Bye bye now.